I'm sad to share that my channel is currently not eligible for monetization. But don't worry, I will continue uploading videos for you all, although they may be a bit shorter going forward. I also share some extra content and updates on my website. If you're interested, feel free to check the link in the description. Thank you so much for your continued support. Chapter 1. 1457. Heavenly Blood Lightning. Golden Crow Spirit Fire. On the second level of the Earth Abyss, there were 4 faint white-winged figures with disheveled hair. They were fighting against black meter-long scorpions as they were moving away. Although the scorpions didn't have any wings, they were able to fly through the air with swift movements and could spit acid from their mouths. Over an hour later, one of the flying spirit tribe resolved themselves and employed much of their magic power to cast a formidable technique, releasing balls of sparkling blue flames and turning 4 of the surrounding black scorpions into ashes. Finally, the black scorpions had reluctantly retreated. The 4 flying spirit tribe beings let out a long sigh and felt at ease. But before they could say anything, light flashed from the distant sky and a bloody mist roiled through. The blood mist was silent and was as fast as a ghost. With several flickers, it drew near the 4 flying spirit tribe beings and circled around them several times. The 4 flying spirit tribe holy disciples were alarmed and hastily assumed a guarded posture. The blood mist coldly snorted and looked at them with crazed eyes. After its gaze passed the holy disciples, they heard an icy, hoarse voice. "Although you aren't the ones I'm looking for, you're still out of luck to have come across me." With that said, thunder rang from the blood mist and the nearby sky turned blood red. Bloody clouds began to strangely form and roil in the sky. "No, run, it's heavenly blood lightning." When one of 4 holy disciples saw this, their expression turned bloodlessly pale and he loudly shouted. Then he flew off in a yellow streak in panic. When the other 3 heard this, they scattered in fright and quickly flew off as well. But in that instant, thunder clapped in the air and 4 blood-red lightning bolts flashed down from the sky, strangely bending in different directions before they disappeared from sight. A moment later, the blood-red lightning appeared above the 4 fleeing holy disciples and struck down. 4 miserable screams sounded, and the streaks of light were instantly dispersed by the lightning. The corpses of the disciples wildly flickered in the lightning before they turned to ash. Their protective treasures and light didn't pose the slightest resistance. The blood mist let out a howl of insane laughter, and in a flash of bright blood light, the mist shot off into the distance, soon to disappear without a trace. An unknown distance away, Han Li took a shallow breath and looked in front of him. 7 ill-intentioned holy disciples surrounded them, and Han Li asked, "Aren't you fellow Taoists going to find the infernal flame fruit? Why are you blocking us?" "Our Tianpeng race and yours has no grudges," Bai Bi sullenly said at the side. His face appeared calm. The group of people had both dark wings and dark skin. A taller man among them held his hands behind his back and arrogantly said to Han Li, "There truly are no disputes between our races, but the Chiron and several other powerful branches have secretly issued a reward. So long as you perish, we'll acquire very significant benefits. If we hadn't encountered you, we wouldn't go looking for you either. But now that we've met, the Black Spirit race won't refuse the opportunity." Black Spirit holy disciples surrounding Han Li's group all looked at them without emotion. This came as no surprise. The Black Spirit race wasn't among the top branches in the tribe, but they were in the upper half far beyond the weaker branches like the Tianpeng. A reward. Han Li frowned, finding this somewhat surprising. "That's all to be said. Now your souls won't be confused in the afterlife, so die." Their leader was unwilling to speak any further and waved his hand with a hostile expression. When the other Black Spirit race disciples saw this, they opened their mouths and spat out a black feather. The feather was only an inch initially, but when they slapped their hands together, the feathers instantly expanded to a foot long. The feather glowed black and had talisman characters roaming across them. The 6 Black Spirit disciples surrounding them all acted together, waving the feather to release waves of black flames from them and enveloping him from every side. Boom! The black flames turned into a huge flame barrier and trapped the 4 inside. These Black Spirit disciples were ruthless in their attack and planned to kill the lot of them in a single strike. As for Green Knight Race's Qin Xiao, they didn't care enough to spare her. When Lei Lan saw the flames, her expression vastly changed and silver lightning rose from her body to create a protective barrier for herself. Then, she shook the golden gourd on her necklace, releasing thin silver lightning to turn her lightning purple, producing an astonishing pressure. When all of this was done, Leilan quickly spoke to Han Li with a voice transmission. "Brother Han, this is the Black Spirit race's Golden Crow Spirit Fire. It is fearsome as it can absorb our magic power and cultivation. We cannot allow it to catch onto our bodies." Bai Bi and Qin Xiao both appeared astonished and quickly released their defenses. A brilliant flash of golden light and strands of green light from dark jade badge were released to block the black flames. Golden Crow Spirit Fire, how interesting. Han Li smiled, seemingly taking no action. Then, rainbow flames appeared from his body. Even as powerful as they were, when the black flames touched the rainbow flames, they began to crackle with muffled thunder. A violent reaction occurred similar to icy water and boiling oil. The Black Spirit disciples were stunned. Their leader narrowed his eyes and shouted, "Increase the flame's power. We have more people." Even if this person has the ability to temporarily block the flames, he can't hold out much longer. The others promptly acknowledged the order and waved their feathers even quicker. Each of them even produced a large black crow projection from their backs. Most of them appeared vague, but those that were clearer still pulsed dimly clearly, showing that they were unstable. When the true spirit projections appeared, the black feathers might greatly increased and the flames turned pitch black. As the flames swept through the air, they faintly warped the air and summoned a soft crow's cry. The flames were clearly being used to the extent of their power. Against such might, the defenses of the other three were reaching their limits. They hastily brandished their treasures in alarm, as if they couldn't hold out much longer. However, Han Li's rainbow flames seemed to be endless. As the might of the black flames increased, the rainbow flames surged a meter high and kept the black flames at a distance. At that moment, the Black Spirit disciples' expressions turned unsightly. But before they could say anything, Han Li narrowed his eyes and glanced at the others who were struggling against the flame. He promptly spat out a ball of silver flame and turned into a silver firebird in a crackle. As soon as the silver firebird appeared, it stared at the black flames and let out a cheerful cry. It spread its wings and expanded several times in size, turning a meter wide. Without waiting for Han Li's command, the silver flames flew out to the black flames. Black and flames silently roiled together, and soon, the firebird's body turned into a magnet and absorbed the black flames towards itself. The spirit-engulfing flame was originally a fusion of other powerful flames. Furthermore, with the instinct it possesses, it is quite adept at devouring different flames. Although the Golden Crow flames they used weren't the Golden Crow true spirit flames that could melt space and burn earth. With the support of the Golden Crow feather, they could use a sliver of the Golden Crow's divine flame. It was something the spirit-engulfing flames happily enjoyed consuming. Thus, when the bird formed from the spirit-engulfing flames entered the fire, it devoured them without reserve and within the span of a few breaths. The bird circled around the black flames and devoured them entirely. All of the Black Spirit disciples were left dumbstruck. Leilan and the others were overjoyed. Furious, the Black Spirit leader shouted, "Who are you? The Tianpeng race doesn't have such techniques." "I don't have to answer you," Han Li lazily said. He spread his wings and vanished in a bolt of azure white lightning. But as someone with rich battle experience, the Black Spirit leader quickly reacted, shaking one of his sleeves and forming an incantation gesture with his other hand. Suddenly, a net of black threads shot out of his sleeve, but it wasn't aimed at Han Li. Rather, it covered himself. In the blink of an eye, a thin black cloth thoroughly covered him. As for his other hand, he summoned 3 cup-sized balls of black lightning to circle around outside. In a clap of lightning, Han Li appeared next to the black cloth. 3 booms sounded as the black lightning flashed and struck Han Li. However, a black armor had already emerged around him. Despite having scattered away half of his armor, the lightning hadn't done any damage to him. Rather, Han Li remained expressionless as golden light flashed from his body, revealing a layer of golden scales underneath. Then, his hand became blurred as it stretched out faster than sound, with his fingers aimed at the Black Spirit leader's vitals. Zap! The golden lightning from his fingers tore through the black cloth like paper. The Black Spirit leader felt a chill run down his back as the golden hand pierced his chest. Strangely enough, blood didn't drip down Han Li's arm. Chapter 1. 1458 Infernal Flame Fruits and the Rotten Leaf Forest. The Black Spirit leader wore an expression of disbelief. He shouted and grabbed the arm in his chest. A cold glint then flashed from Han Li's eyes, and golden light brightly shined from his arm. A meter-long sword then strangely appeared from his hand. A flash of swordlight flickered, followed by a metallic ring. Not only did the Black Spirit leader's arm fall off, but his body had been sliced in two by the swordlight. Only a crystal core and a ball of green flames appeared from the bisected body. His soul had been destroyed by the swordlight. The other Black Spirit holy disciples turned pale with fright. Their leader was a high-spirit general-grade being. In regards to cultivation and abilities, he was unrivaled. How could the Tianpeng holy disciples slay him in a single strike? Soon, 4 of the Black Spirit holy disciples let out furious shouts, and they aggressively dived towards Han Li in the form of large black crows. As for the remaining 2, they wordlessly exchanged a glance and withdrew their feathers, immediately taking off to the distance in black streaks of light. Han Li smirked, and thunder rang from his back as he disappeared in a flash of lightning. The large black birds were startled by this and couldn't help but stop. In that brief delay, azure light flashed, and the image of a winged figure appeared underneath one of the black crows. Before the crow could take action, the figure's arm moved and released a glaring flash of golden light. The crow was startled, but its body immediately felt a chill before it was split into 2. The 2 corpse halves rained blood into the air as it fell. The figure underneath blurred and strangely vanished once again. Soon after, it appeared near another golden crow and waved its hand, releasing another streak of swordlight. The crow was similarly cut down faster than the speed of sound. Its iron-like feathers weren't able to stop the attack in the slightest. As such, Han Li's figure continued to flicker with ghost-like agility several more times, before he clearly stopped in mid-air. The remaining 4 Black Spirit disciples were cleanly massacred. However, Han Li didn't stop there. He glanced at the 2 Black Spirit disciples 100 meters away and expressionlessly spread his wings, tearing through the air in a white streak. Air shrieked as he cut through it. With formidable speed, he only traveled for 30 meters before blurring and disappearing into a thin white line. The line then strangely wrapped and disappeared into space. Behind one of the desperately fleeing Black Spirit disciples, a white azure line appeared along with a fluctuation of space. In a blur, the line pierced through their body, quickly circled around it, and released a golden flash. By the time the Black Spirit disciple was separated into 8 pieces, the white line wrapped and disappeared once more. Soon, azure white light brightly flashed from above the remaining Black Spirit tribe disciples. In a blur, Han Li came into full view, his hand silently blurred, turning the small golden sword in his hand into dense swordlight. In a flicker of golden swordlight, it cleaved into the head of the being below. Horrified, the Black Spirit disciple simply folded his wings and slapped the top of his head. As black light flashed from his wings, their feathers turned into countless arrows, filling the air in the dense barrage. Then, a black wooden shield appeared from his skull and turned into a black cloud as it faced the golden swordlight. Regardless, the shield was unable to withstand the incisiveness of his bamboo clouds-warm sword. Golden light flashed, and the black cloud was split into 2, along with the Black Spirit disciple's body. As for the black feather arrows, they were blocked in mid-air by a grey mist. When the grey light swept past them, the arrows disappeared, leaving Han Li completely unharmed. Han Li looked at the corpses with a raised brow, as if something came to mind, and he reached out to them. With a rustle, a foot-long black feather flew out from one of the corpses and into his hand. Han Li stroked the feather in his hand as he observed them. The pitch-black feather glowed, and traces of gold faintly shined from them. With a slight shake, black talisman characters appeared from them, and they turned into balls of black flame, releasing a scorched scent into the air. Han Li revealed interest, and black light flashed from his hand. As for the corpses, they were each given a fireball and turned to ash. Han Li circled the air at a low height, collecting all of the black feathers from the corpses and took them into his hand. In an azure flash, Han Li returned to the others in a fierce streak. "Let's continue," Han Li said, as if nothing had happened. Lei Lan and the others had pale complexions, but they obediently nodded nonetheless. Half a day later, Han Li arrived in the air of an unfamiliar land. Not far from him was a short, dense forest. Most of the trees in the forest were only a bit over 10 meters tall, but their leaves were a sickly yellow and released a putrid scent. When the party stopped at the edge of the dense forest, Hanli stood in front and silently observed the forest with a sullen expression. Bai Bi and the others didn't know what he was thinking. They simply stood 10 meters behind him, not daring to stand at his side. They all viewed Han Li with traces of awe. To tell the truth, ever since Han Li easily killed the 7 Black Spirit Holy Disciples, they realized how truly powerful Han Li was. Perhaps even the legendary 7-pass races Ao Qing and the Nanlong races Fei Ye couldn't rival him. Therefore, as they continued on their way, Lei Lan and the others spoke to Han Li with an unconscious tone of reverence, as if Han Li was one of their clan seniors. With a powerful companion like Han Li, they shouldn't have much trouble passing the trial. Han Li eventually said with a soft voice, "If I'm correct, this is the Rotten Leaf Forest. It is the place most concentrated with filthy qi on the 2nd level. Our luck is good to have come here. Although our chances aren't high, we can acquire infernal flame fruits here. Do you plan on spending some time to find them here, or will you rush to the Myriad Vine Path?" The 3 hesitantly exchanged a glance, and Bai Bi respectfully replied, "Brother Han, the Rotten Leaf Forest isn't very large. Although our spiritual senses are restricted, we'll be able to search through it in only half a day." Feeling that there was no problem, Han Li nodded and said, "Oh, I understand. Half a day's time isn't much. We'll stop here for the time being." Lei Lan and the others were happy to hear this. If they could find the infernal flame fruits here, they wouldn't have to risk looking for them in the 3rd level. The 3 had a quick discussion, and Qin Xiao shook her sleeve, summoning a dozen more lizard puppets. She had them spread out to various parts of the rest before disappearing. Ul and Bai Bi were also making their own preparations. Lei Lan raised her head and summoned a white jade box. She muttered to it a moment, and its lid flew off to reveal tens of inch-long butterflies. They flickered with silver light and flew off. Bai Bi's wings trembled, and a dozen small golden snakes shot out from his body. They burrowed into the ground with a flicker. Following that, the 3 sat down cross-legged in the air, controlling their puppets and insects to search through the forest. Han Li floated motionlessly in the air, completely separating himself from the matter. Time slowly passed by. Hours later, Lei Lan and the others searched through most of the forest, but to no avail. But after consuming so much spiritual sense in the search, their complexions had turned faintly pale. Han Li held his arms behind his back and he frowned. He looked at the horizon with a trace of shock. At that moment, he sensed a powerful aura, but it quickly flickered and disappeared, causing him to doubt his senses. His eyes flickered. Just as he thought to examine this more closely, Lei Lan cried out in alarm and delight. Han Li tossed the matter to the back of his mind and turned around in surprise. "What? Did you truly find the infernal flame fruits?" Lei Lan's beautiful eyes lit up, and she excitedly said, "That's right. I've truly found an abyss fruit tree. Furthermore, it has 6 fruits. Most of them seem ripe." Bai Bi's heartbeat quickened. Unable to further control his butterflies, he asked Junior Marshall's sister Lei, "Are you sure?" "That's right, the Earth Abyss has many fruits that appear similar to infernal flame fruits." Junior Sister Lei, "Let me have a look," Qin Xiao spoke with a trembling voice. The woman also was distracted from using her puppets. Lei Lan shook her head and confidently said, "I can't be wrong. Although this is the first time I've seen it. Both the tree and fruit are exactly as described." Han Li calmly said, "Very good, let's go verify it. If there is no problem, we won't have to head to the 3rd level. Originally, one could find the fruit on the 2nd level, but the odds weren't very high. It wasn't an impossible outcome." "Yes, let's head over," Lei Lan happily answered. She quickly stood up. The other 2 also stood up. Although they were trying to appear calm, their excitement was betrayed by their eyes. With Lei Lan leading the way, the party flew at full speed. A quarter-hour later, they arrived at a deep part of the forest covered in grey qi. Lei Lan pointed down and said, "It's here. There is a pond nearby, and the infernal flame fruits are growing at the side of the pond." Chapter 1. 1459. Blood River Infernal Spike. Looking at the fog below, Han Li's eyes flashed blue, allowing him to clearly see through it. He shook his sleeve, blowing a strong wind and clearing away most of the fog. The bottom of the foggy area could be faintly seen. There was a pond near it that was about 300 meters wide, and about 30 meters away. There were tens of short trees, but most of them were rotting. A tree with black-green wood had black fist-sized fruits at the very top branch. The fruit's surface was rough and had countless thin cracks. Even odder, it had black chi swirling into it. Han Li narrowed his eyes. The fruit was similar to what was described in records. When the others saw these fruits, they couldn't help but break into a smile. Bai Bi happily said Junior Marshal Sister Lei was correct. It truly is an infernal flame fruit. Han Li took a deep glance at them and calmly said, "Pick off the ripe fruits. There is enough for us all. If the Qi Rong are lying in ambush for us on the 3rd level, let's have them continue to wait," Lei Lan jokingly said, clearly expressing her happy mood. Xianxia was also cheerful. But when the three planned on descending on grabbing the fruits, Han Li's expression sank and he raised his arm without turning his hand, pointing at an empty space. A loud crack sounded and a large rainbow hand appeared in the air. It bluntly swiped down and crimson light flashed in response, summoning a blood-red hand to meet the attack. A boom sounded as the hands struck one another. Rainbow and bloodlight intertwined and disappeared in a flash. How interesting. The two different voices shouted. The yelp came from Han Li, who just turned around and saw what happened. The other voice belonged to the tall figure in the ball of blood Qi, where the large blood-red hand had appeared. Han Li looked at the blood mist and solemnly said, "Who is your esteemed self, and why are you acting so secretively? It is truly suspicious that a mere spirit general can discover me." The person in the blood Qi let out a sinister laugh. Han Li blinked and waved his arm at the other three and sternly commanded, "Head down and collect the infernal flame fruits. I'll deal with this person." "Yes, as you command. Be careful, Brother Han." Although Lei Lan and the others weren't able to see the power of the figure from the blood mist, Han Li's serious appearance caused their hearts to drop. Afterwards, the three flew down towards the fruits. The blood figure glanced at the three and spoke with an odd tone. "What, you're quite interested in those fruit trees? Haha. Although they aren't anything good, they won't be so easily acquired." Han Li's heart trembled and his spiritual sense stirred. He immediately thought to warn the three, but it was already too late. A huge boom sounded. A wave suddenly rose out from the pond and several pink tentacles emerged from the wave, shooting out a dense barrage of countless icicles. Having already landed at the pond side, they were greatly frightened. As the abyssal flame fruits were behind them, they didn't dare to dodge. With no other option, they unleashed their abilities to block the strike. Lei Lan clapped her hands and unleashed several dense bolts of silver lightning. Bai Bi released a myriad of intertwining golden threads. As for Xiao, she opened her mouth and spat out a green mist. The three abilities combined smoothly and knocked against the barrage of ice. The deafening force of the impact forced the three several steps back. What resulted from the many attacks was a scorching liquid on the ground and a messy, bloody scene. A painful wail cried out from the pond. Soon after, a wave of ice rose to reveal a brown octopus demon. When it glared at them with its strange green eyes, several tentacles emerged from the water and stretched forward. Each one rose over 30 meters high. On the top of the demon's head grew a dense batch of blue fur. Every time a tentacle swung, the fur released the cracking of torn space. Lei Lan and the others felt their hearts sink. The wounded tentacles were restored to completion after they flickered with blue light. The demon was unleashing its full strength as it regarded the pond's surroundings as its own territory. It raised its head and released a savage roar as its tentacles began to stir, glowing to blue light as they swept towards the holy disciples. As the three were aiming for the abyssal flame fruit, they couldn't afford to step away and could only confront the attacks head-on. Suddenly, rolls of thunder and explosions repeatedly boomed as they sank into battle with the demon. Up above, Han Li glanced at what was happening, but didn't betray the slightest emotion from his face. Although the demon appeared fierce, it would be defeated given enough time. Rather, the main enemy was the blood figure. He would have to deal with him carefully. Han Li stared at the blood mist and asked, "What relation do you have with the blood puppets that appeared before?" "Heh, blood puppets. You mean eccentric Dai Xue already sent people over here. They should have slaughtered you." "Good. Very good. It seems my trip was worth it." The blood figure let out a cold laugh. He clearly had no intention of answering Han Li. Han Li frowned, feeling the swords in his body shake with anticipation. At that moment, a sharp whistle sounded, causing his ears to ring dully. Han Li was startled. Before he realized what happened, a cold wind attacked him. A hair-thin blood needle had attacked from a foot away and was about to bore into his skull. At such a distance, Han Li could hardly react. He simply saw a bloody glint and the needle devilishly arrived in front of him. The blood figure's lips stirred and formed an evil grin. He had killed countless strong opponents with this ability, and it had yet to fail. A metallic clang sounded. The thin, penetrating needle spun through the air, repelled. Han Li's expression vastly changed, and his arm blurred as he stretched it forward, grabbing the blood needle in his hand. The smile on the blood figure's face froze. "Your physical body is able to block my blood river infernal spike." The blood figure spoke with disbelief. Han Li wordlessly retracted his fingers and saw a blood needle jumping in his palm as if it were alive. Layers of rainbow flames were wrapping around his needle. Han Li's face was unsightly and his complexion was ashen. An extreme cold gripped his heart. He was caught in a sneak attack that had truly left him on the verge of death. If it wasn't for a body that was far stronger than demon beasts of the same grade, with flesh as durable as magic, treasures, anybody else would have died in that strike. Even so, Han Li felt cold sweat cover his body. It had been many years since he felt that he had this close a brush with death. The figure in the blood mist was no less shocked than Han Li. His opponent had a body that was sturdy to untold degrees. He couldn't help but doubt Han Li's identity as a flying spirit tribe being, or as a powerful demon that took the form of one. His expression wavered. At that moment, Han Li slowly raised his hand, and a strange light flickered from his eyes. Then, he let out a cold snort. The figure in the blood mist felt an attack shake his mind as if it were being pierced with a needle. He was overcome with acute pain. Although the figure's spiritual sense was far stronger than demons of the same grade, his body couldn't help but sway from the pain, nearly bending down as a result. At nearly the same time, his last trace of clarity sensed a wind blow behind him, and he felt a strange coldness approaching his waist. The figure was greatly alarmed and attempted to dodge, but his suffering spiritual sense distracted him, causing his movements to become delayed. He could only let out a shout as bloodlight brightly shined from his body, summoning a strange azure scale armor around him. Crackle! A golden light struck his armor. It penetrated only a few inches before it stopped entirely. The gold light faded away to reveal a foot-long, sparkling golden sword. It was one of Han Li's bamboo cloud's warm swords. 10 meters behind the blood mist, Han Li stood there with an astonished expression. At the same time, he used his soul fright thorn. He used lightning movement to turn to wind and strike at the figure from behind. But he didn't expect that the figure would regain a trace of clarity and summon a strange scale armor that could block. His incisive bamboo cloud's warm sword. What kind of armor is so durable? Han Li felt amazed. You're courting death. In that instant, the figure in the blood mist recovered from the soul fright thorn. He felt a lingering fear from Han Li's strike, and in his rage, he turned around and released a crimson beam from his mouth. However, Han Li wasn't so easily hit. With a wave of his wings, he vanished in a flash of azure-white lightning. A short moment later, Han Li stood in his original place. His expression was calm, as if nothing had happened. At that moment, he heard a roar, and the blood mist dissipated in a roil. The figure's true appearance was revealed a blood-red demon with a worm's head and a person's body. A bloodworm. Han Li narrowed his eyes.